Welcome back to the gift of inner success, daily invitations with me, Rasheed Ogunlaru, coach, speaker and author. Chapter 10, Space, Stillness, Silence. Space, stillness, silence. How much time do you spend in space, stillness, silence? Notice how they resonate. Notice how nourishing they are. But notice how often we run from them. We run from these very things that center us, give us clarity, and reconnect us to ourselves and everything else. Space, stillness, silence. A friend of mine pointed out that the word disillusioned means for the illusion around something to fall away. We tend to think of it as a bad thing if you become disillusioned. Oh, it's so sad that they've lost their joy for something. But actually it means that the illusion around something falls away. And that can happen to you. The illusion around you, the illusion around what's happened in your life, all that illusion can disappear. I want you to think about your life. I want you to reflect on your life story. If you've listened to these invitations, I've invited you to reflect on your story and all the happenings, all the challenges, all the ups and downs, personally, professionally, in your career, in your relationships, or your expectations, or your projections, or your disappointments, or the appointments that you actually never made. Once that thing doesn't happen, you become disillusioned, and the illusion that was woven falls away. Disillusion is the dawn of awakening, actually. On this material plane, which we have chosen to live, we come and we go. We live and we die. There is sunshine and there is rain. Something dissolves into nothing, and nothing gives rise to something. That is it. It's much like a lava lamp, where the shape and the form of the lava constantly changes. Life stops being problematic. There'll be challenges. But the very nature of those challenges shifts. For example, some people will wrestle for a while with ill health and an ailment. But there comes a point where we learn to work with that. They focus on what they have. They flow. Just this morning, I was sending some messages to somebody who's suffered from very, very serious ill health, where we no idea what the outcome will be. It might be that they have some years, it might be that they have some time, it might be that they have no time. But so often we become alarmed, just like that sound. We become alarmed. An event happens, and we think the event is cause for alarm. All the happenings of life were happening. The noise of life, the distractions of the life, the things that come along that we don't welcome, the surprises, they'll all come. It's all part of the dance of life. For example, some people wrestle for a long time with ill health or an ailment, and then there comes a point that they learn to work with that. They focus on what they have. Often then they arrive at a deeper understanding of life. This is an invitation for you now, whatever your circumstances, to root to its stillness and its silence. Stillness and silence seem to be present in many different practices. Many people who are religious may be drawn to silent prayer. Many people will be drawn to meditation. Beyond the realm of those who are religious, other people may simply call it me time, quiet time. Others go on contemplative walks. They've been contemplating themselves. They're still, they're silent. These are all ways in which we reconnect to ourselves. This silence is a natural gift. Something might happen within them and they know that they just need to be aware, they just need to return to the silence, to the quiet. This is the invitation. This is the invitation for you now. This is why you've been drawn to this book, to these talks, to these daily invitations. And if you are silent, then information will make itself available to you. But first you must be still. I have a quote that came to me once. If you listen quietly enough, life will whisper its secrets to you, and that's what happens in the silence. When you're still, when you're silent. But we must be silent. When we're quiet, we can hear. When we are still, we can feel and see. Again, if you were lost in the forest, the first thing you would do is to stop. You'd pause. You'd see from where it is that you would arrive. You'd retrace your steps. So it might be a way now in your life that you've been running away or you've been rushing around. If you're rushing around in the forest and you're trying to find your way home, this can be very difficult. But if you stop and if you pause, you can look and perhaps remember that path that you took, and it's precisely what we're doing now. I'm simply inviting you to remember the path that you've taken, that path, and perhaps that path that you've been led down, the path that you've been encouraged to walk in your life, in yourself, in your identity. But look at it gently, not bitterly. Those who led you down the various paths, they may well have been led down the same paths themselves. This tends to be the nature of life. I had this realization when I mentioned the story about my father. I suddenly realized it could have been all of his conditioning, conscious or subconscious, and his identity of himself, what he should be, what he shouldn't be, that may have led him to the decisions that he made. And that identity and those ideas would have first been fed to him, and so on and so on. What do those decisions have to do with me? And right now, that if you're wrestling with some issue, it can dissolve in a moment. The realization will happen in a moment. The dust may settle over some period of time. The more it is that you let things be, the more space you allow yourself, the quicker you will be at peace with yourself. But on a practical level, silence and stillness are most likely to be the most profound routes to being at one with yourself. In this stillness and this silence, the dust, the debris, the illusion will fall away. But as with the window, dust and debris may and can collect again, which is why silence and stillness are so valuable. In a world of noise, in a world of activity, in a world in which everyone seeks peace of mind, however much money you may have in the bank, you will not arrive at peace of mind. The one thing that almost everybody has in common is that they lack peace of mind. Oh, how am I going to do this? Oh, how am I going to do that? What about this? What about that? How am I going to manage this? Am I going to manage that? This is the mind. Oh yes, but this and that and this and that. And so it goes on. So stillness, silence and space are important. Many people know this. There's nothing new. There's nothing new in this. There's nothing groundbreaking here. Many people are saying it in different ways. And stillness, silence and space are ultimately an inner state, even though you may initially reconnect them through going out externally and minimizing external noise. So right now, take a moment here, and we're just going to be centered and still and just embrace life. In a world of noise, inner silence, or the absence of content, is the most enriching thing that you have. In fact, it's a non-doing. We spend so much time doing, but doing is rarely being. Being is rarely seeing. Being is freeing. Being is knowing. Being is sitting within the mystery of oneself. It is the end of questions and of the need for answers. It is fulfillment. So I want to invite you to just be still for a moment. Just to stay here for a moment. You might feel the agitation. You want to turn here, you want to turn there, you want to click on the next video. You've got to get off to work, you've got something else to do. You can hear the phone ringing, you can hear noises outside the front door. Your friends, your family, people are calling you. You can hear that there's something exciting happening next door or downstairs. This is the nature of the mind. But if we can just be still, if we can just be silent, even for a few moments, so much of that noise, so much of the tension falls away. So much of the intensity drops away. So much of the stress evaporates. So much of the hurting is healed. So much of the lack of clarity is seen through. Notice how nourishing the silence is as we go with it. So I invite you, if you wish, to stay in this inner space. And then, if and when you're ready, you may want to just gently bring yourself back into the space, into the room, into the here and now. Remembering to breathe and remembering to be. And my invitation is to carry some of this stillness, some of this silence with you as you head to work, as you head to the world, as you head to have that conversation, as you decide to sit down and eat, as you have that conversation. Always carry some of this space, stillness and silence. And when you've lost it, when you've lost sight of it, when you get lost in the forest,